We're on the road with Mickey, we're gonna have some fun. Regardless of the rain or sun, our trip has just begun. So buckle up, let's go, we're about to start the show. And maybe if you like us, you'll see where else we'll go. Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, he's Mike. Welcome to our little corner of the podcasting universe. Hopefully you like the sound of our voices and you want to stick around for the show. Not that it stays in one place for long. I mean, after all, we are on the road with Mickey. So hop in the car and buckle up your seat belts because we've got an awesome adventure this week. Now a brief rundown before we get moving. First up, our roundtable talk where we'll discuss the main topic for this week, followed by some Disney trivia ranging from Disney history to a random Disney character of the day. Well, that's just about it. Everybody ready? Let's get this show on the road.
Hey everyone, I'm Mike and she's Sophie.
Hi.
And we're on the road with Mickey. This is episode number 32 for August 10th, 2020. And today we're deviating a little bit and we're stepping aside from Disney and heading over to Universal in Orlando, and we are going to talk about the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
And just a few notes beforehand, a few birthday announcements to have. One was that Harry Potter turned the big 4-0 on July 31st. He was born in 1980, so this past July 31st, he turned 40. I thought that was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then some other notes regarding birthdays for the Harry Potter people is that Ron Weasley was born on March 1st, same year, 1980, so he already turned 40. And Hermione is the oldest of the three, and she was born on September 19th, 1979, I think it was. So her birthday is around Meemaw's birthday, right, Soph?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and Ron's is around Mommy's birthday. So, and Harry's is around Aunt Robin's birthday.
Yep. So I'm the only odd one out.
Yeah. And fortunately, none of us are as old as Lord Voldemort was. Because his birthday was December 31st, 1926. So that's kind of crazy if you ask me. It just seems weird that he was that old, you know. But anyway, enough about birthdays. Like we said, we are going to focus on Universal today, and specifically the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And we have some cheddar from the Big Cheese, and it's our Universal edition for that. So I will start us off, and then Sophie will
take the lead. I will follow.
Yeah. So Sophie will take the.
Weird.
Yeah, we know what you meant. Sophie will wrap us up on our cheddar from the Big Cheese. Starting off over at Universal. I keep saying over at Universal. That's kind of dumb too. So, but
it's fine. We're Disney people.
I know. We just got to wrap our heads around this a little bit. The Universal Orlando has announced their pass holder appreciation days, and they actually start today, August 10th, and they run until September 30th. All sorts of fun things are planned for Universal Orlando annual pass holders, and we're not annual pass holders for Universal Orlando or for Disney for that matter. So I don't know all the details, but if you are an annual pass holder there, check it out because they have a lot of things planned, and I'm certain that they're going to make it an exciting time to be going over there. And I think I would love to hear back from some of you. If you want to, if you are an AP for Universal and you do get some of the cool things or take advantage of some of the fun things planned, send us an email, drop us a line, call our voicemail number. All that information is in the show notes, and I'd love to hear from you on how it went. And then Second thing on our list for Universal is we have some ticket promotions. Just a reminder that there is a two-park, 2-day park-to-park ticket. And when you buy that ticket, you receive 2 extra days of tickets for free. So um, that ticket is good from now through December 17th, 2021. And you can purchase that ticket um, from now through September 30th. They extended it. It was originally going to be gone on August 13th, but they extended it through September 30th. So it's a really good value. And if you are interested in any of that, shoot me an email, mike@pixievacations.com, and I would be happy to give you pricing on that for you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other promotion for Florida residents, um, they have a new promotion. It's called the Buy a Day, Go for the Rest of the Year deal. And so what happens is if you're a Florida resident, you can buy a 1-day ticket at $164, or you can include Volcano Bay in that 1-day ticket for $193, and you will receive park access through December 24th, 2020 with that 1 day of ticket. So that
Mm.
is an awesome deal for Florida residents because it gives you the ability to spend one price and keep going and going and going. To me that's an awesome deal. So Florida residents, check that out
That's
because
got
that
my
might
gears
be
turning.
it does have your gears turning, but that might be really worth checking out. So um,
Mm-hmm.
and Sophie, you want to close this out with the rest of this temporary or of this universal edition of Cheddar from the Big Cheese?
Yeah, I was about to say, we can't let them know that this is temporary, Daddy.
Yeah, go for it.
But speaking of temporary, there are some ride closures that will be happening. They're only temporary, and they started yesterday, August 9th, in Universal Studios. And unfortunately, I can't say when they will open up again, but hopefully they will open up soon because there are actually some of these that I really want to see.
Okay.
And in Universal Studios Florida, the ride closures include A Day in the Park with Barney, Fast and Furious Supercharged, Kong and Kodo's Twirl and Hurl, maybe not that one, and Fear Factor Live. And
Uh-huh.
those are the four that will be closed at Universal Studios Florida. And then over in Islands of Adventure, we have Storm Force Acceleration and Poseidon's Fury, which is sad because I really wanted to see Poseidon's Fury.
Oh, well,
Mm.
I have just about zero interest in most of these ones. I think Sophie's a little disappointed that A Day in the Park with Barney's not going to be open when she gets over there.
No, I'm not disappointed about that one.
Come on, Sophie, sing it with me. I
Daddy,
love you.
here's the thing. By the time I reached elementary school, I heard my classmates talking about how much they hated Barney. We had a song
I don't want you to sing it.
about, yeah, no, you don't want to hear it.
No.
So I think I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just kidding anyway. I can't imagine that being a. I guess it is for kids though. It might be really popular for the children, the
Yeah.
young children. But anyway, yeah. You know, closures right now. It's a weird time. Still is a weird time, and it is what it is. So if they got to close some
Mhm.
stuff to keep other stuff open, then that's what they got to do. But
Yeah.
anyway, enough on that sad note, and I'm sorry to close us on that sad note. So let's talk about something fun, shall we,
Well, we do
Sophie?
have some good news.
What's that?
Nothing in Harry Potter is closed.
That's right. That's right. And we are going to cover some of the stuff at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. So,
Mhm.
um, I'm going to take on the Diagon Alley side, which is over at Universal Studios Florida, and Sophie is covering Hogsmeade
Yep.
over at Islands Adventure. So if you're not familiar with the park layout at Universal Orlando, there's two parks. Those are the two parks, Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. Universal Studios was there first. Islands of Adventure was built second, but they opened the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened first over at Islands of Adventure, and they opened the Hogsmeade side. And then a few years later is when the Diagon Alley side at Universal Studios opened. And one of the really cool things about it is they have the Hogwarts Express that travels between the two parks
Mhm.
that you can ride both ways, and you see scenes from the movies. Depending on which way you're going, you see different scenes. So it's really kind of cool, and it's a neat way to go from one part to the other. Um,
Mhm.
and Lastly, just a side note, if you go to Universal Studios, you want to have a park to park ticket. That's the Disney equivalent of a park hopper, and
Yep.
you need that park to park ticket because otherwise you can't ride the Hogwarts Express, because if you have a base ticket, you're limited to just one park. So it really needs to be a park to park ticket.
Mhm.
Um, Otherwise, you don't get to experience the whole effect of Harry Potter. So, um, so anyway, are you ready for me to tackle the Diagon Alley side, Sophie, or do you want to take on the Hogsmeade side?
Yep, you go for the Diagon Alley one, because I'm still looking. There's a lot to do at Hogsmeade.
There is a lot to do. Okay. So I found some really interesting things, and we haven't been to Universal a whole lot, but we've been some. I've been on um familiarization trips with Pixie, and I took Cindy and Sophie, and we took our friends, went with us, Sheila and Randy and Jagan, and so we've been there, but we haven't devoted the amount of time with Universal that we typically have with Disney, and that's just because we're much bigger on Disney at the moment. But but there is some really cool stuff to see at Diagon Alley. You've
Mhm.
got when you the cool thing is you've got the city of London, okay? And so just picture in your mind you're at Universal Studios, you're in the London section, and then you see this brick wall with an opening, and when you walk through it, when you go through that opening, all of a sudden you're not in London anymore. You're in Diagon Alley, and
Mhm.
it's such a cool transformation because you really do go from like one set of music and everything and the way it feels and everything to a totally different feel, and it's just really cool the way they captured that. So so you're in Diagon Alley, okay, and all of a sudden you've got Gringotts and you got Ollivanders and you've got um, Nocturne Alley and you've got the Ministry of Magic and you got Madame Malkins and so forth, and there's
Mhm.
all these things to see and do, and a lot of these we hadn't even known about.
And don't
um,
forget to talk about the leaky cauldron.
Yeah, and you got the leaky cauldron too. So there's a ton of stuff to see and do in there. And when you're going to the Wizarding World, it's a lot more as much about the experience of being in the land, almost like being when you go to Galaxy's Edge. It's not just about the rides, it's about being in Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
So is there's much to do in the land, in the world of Harry Potter, as there is just, riding the rides,
Mhm.
riding the Hogwarts Express or riding Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts or whatever, so there's a ton to see and do in there that goes beyond just riding a ride,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's what makes it really neat.
Mhm.
For instance. Um, if you are at the phone booth outside the Ministry of Magic and you dial magic on the phone booth, you will get a special message played. And I don't know what that message is. I haven't heard it, and I don't know if it changes, but it would be really cool to try it next time we're there, right, Soph?
Oh yeah, I'll make sure to give it a try.
And then if you go into Madame Malkin's and you're trying on robes, they have a talking mirror at Madame Malkin's. And from what I understand, it is not always flattering in its responses to you. So keep that in mind if you're going to stand in front of the talking mirror while you're trying on your robes for your class for your house,
Wants
because
to make sure that you look good. It
that's
has the
right.
best intentions.
That's right. And then some other things you can do is you can talk to the conductor of the night bus with his shrunken head over his shoulder. The night bus doesn't run. It's not an attraction or anything like that. It's just talking with the conductor, but it's still kind of cool. You can still take pictures with him and all that. So that's kind of neat. Um, and then in addition to Diagon Alley, you've also got Nocturne Alley. And we all know how dangerous Nocturne Alley can be, don't we, Soph?
Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, but you got to be careful. So,
Yeah.
so you
Don't
can
go
go
down
into
there
Nocturne.
alone.
You can go down into Nocturne Alley, um,
There's
and
even
and
like a
it's
bunch
just
of
like,
skeletons on display.
yeah, yeah. And then, of course, if you're in Diagon Alley, one of the reasons you're there is to get a wand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's face
Yep.
facts. You're going to Hogwarts. You need a wand. So
Yeah.
where do you get a wand?
Ollivanders.
Ollivanders. That's right. And um, sometimes, and they may not be doing it right now because of COVID, but they have wand ceremonies where you might be given the opportunity to perform in the ceremony to have your wand chosen as
Mm-hmm.
part of this mini show. So if that's the case, then that would be kind of cool because it's like you're Harry right in the movie, and you're trying out all these different wands.
Yeah.
So
It would be really cool.
now when Ollivanders first opened up, I learned that the wands were not actual interactive wands that you can use to perform magic in Diagon Alley and in Hogsmeade. They were just replicas, so you had to use your imagination. But now, of course, if you buy a wand now, it is interactive and you can perform magic tricks
All
um,
throughout Diagon
throughout the.
Alley and also Hogsmeade.
Yeah, you can perform those magic tricks and have it do really neat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a muggle, so I don't have a wand,
I have
uh,
a wand.
but my daughter does. So
Yeah, I
she's
actually have the elder one because I didn't get to pick mine.
ah. And then lastly, I'm going to talk about um, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really cool ride, and what it does is it's just like from the movies, where they're breaking into Gringotts and they're having to escape, and it's just really neat. It's something that you really have to try it and experience it for yourself. Almost can't put it into words what it's like, but
Hmm.
it's just like one of these realistic things that you feel like you are right in the environment. Does that do justice, Sophie? Not probably not.
Probably not. I don't think I've ever ridden the Escape from Gringotts. That's the thing.
Yeah,
We hardly had any time to spend at Universal because people go to Universal and they think that it's a 1 day park and you can get through it in a day. They are so wrong.
yeah. It used to be that way, but it is not that way anymore.
No.
So, so really, um, I guess the takeaway for us as a family, Sophie, is that we need to go spend some more time at Universal.
Mm-hmm. Universal Hollywood, yeah, that can be done in a day. Universal Orlando, mm-mm,
No.
nope.
And that's why they have the promotions like buy 2 days, get 2 days free,
Yeah.
because there is a ton that you can do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, but really, the Escape from Gringotts is just a really cool ride. So,
Yep.
Sophie, you need to make it over there one day.
I will certainly try to.
So,
Well,
and then I guess the last thing I'm going to say before I switch it over to Hogsmeade is that you know, touching base a little bit with the talking mirror at Madame Malkin's, that's something that not many people think about. And the whole point of mentioning the talking mirror is that it reminds us to go into all the little things, all the little shops, see what's there, because there's things to do that aren't just, like I said, there's things to do that you don't just stand in a line and ride a ride. There's the whole environment that you're immersing yourself into. And so the talking mirror is just one example of that. So
mhm.
now, um, over at King's Cross Station, you can take the Hogwarts Express and you can go from Diagon Alley from London to Hogsmeade, and that'll take you over towards where the castle will be. And and they have their own platform 9 3/4 where you can run through,
Yep.
and you can get, then you're transported to 9 3/4, and you can get on the train. And when you sit in the train car, the windows show the scenes as you're traveling from London to Hogsmeade, so you get to see the neat scenery of that trip. And it's probably about between a 5 and 10 minute ride um, to go from one to the other. But
Mhm.
it's really kind of neat, and it's just neat because when you get off the train, all of a sudden you're in Hogsmeade, you know,
Yeah.
and you don't know how that's happened, but it's all because of the Hogwarts Express. So
Yep. And it's amazing how they do it.
yeah, so I know that my side of Wizarding World of Harry Potter, I haven't covered all the things there are to do, and
Mhm.
and we'll have to touch base on this and bring it back up another day as well, after we've totally immersed ourselves in it. But
Mhm.
here we are. We are now over in Hogsmeade, and Sophie is going to give us some of the rundowns on what you can do and see in Hogsmeade.
Well, of course. So, as we already said, there is the Hogwarts Express that will take you from King's Cross to the Hogsmeade station. And of course, there's also the other entrance into Hogsmeade. It's actually really amazing how they managed to replicate the town from the movie and put it in Islands of Adventure, which is where Hogsmeade is, because the park spans the Harry Potter land spans two parks.
Mhm.
So you have Diagon Alley over in just Universal Orlando, and you have Hogsmeade over in Islands of Adventure. And aside from the Hogwarts Express, there are many, many things to do. I'm just going to go over the rides really quick because they are only a fraction of what there is. So we have Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey,
Mhm.
and that was literally the only Harry Potter ride I rode when I went to Universal, and my mom rode it with me. It takes place in the castle,
Yep.
and you are flying as a muggle on a broomstick that Hermione has enchanted so that you can fly on it. It's actually kind of scary because it takes you into the Chamber of Secrets at one point, and ooh, spiders. And then we have Flight of the Hippogriff, which is basically they have this over in Universal Hollywood too, and you are riding on the back of a hippogriff like Harry did in the third movie. And then they had this inverted roller coaster duo called the Dragon Challenge, but that was replaced in 2019 with Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. And basically, you're riding on Hagrid's motorbike and you get to fly all around Hogwarts and see all the magical creatures that Hagrid takes care of. Care for magical creatures is and always will be my favorite class at Hogwarts. And those are the three rides that you can find in Hogsmeade. And that may not seem like a lot, but there is actually so much more to do there, such as the environment that it immerses you in. And I will start with the Owl Post, which is right next to the Hogwarts Express. And it is a functional post office, and you can get stationery, you can get postcards, it's a functioning post office, but it's themed around the main method of getting the mail, which is owls in the wizarding world. And then right next door, we have this place called Dervish and Bangs, and also Mr. Filch's Emporium of Confiscated Goods. And those are two shops that will sell merchandise to you, Harry Potter merchandise. They're not wands, but there is a place where you can get a wand in Hogsmeade. And I really wish I could have seen them because they sell the ropes like Madame Malkin's, and they also sell broomsticks and different props that you can find in the movies, especially at Filch's. And then we have the three areas where you can get food, and that would be the three broomsticks. That is where you can eat. It has a lot of seating and it's very well themed. And then the Hogshead is kind of like a quick bar. It sells alcohol, but also sells non-alcoholic drinks. And at those two places, you can get things like butterbeer, pumpkin juice is my personal favorite, and gilly water even, which is just sparkling water to us muggles. And then they have Honeydukes, which is the candy shop. I guess you can understand which place is my favorite.
And stepping back just a moment, Sophie, Flight of the Hippogriff is more of, in my opinion anyway, it's more like a kiddie roller coaster.
Well, yeah, but...
So, excuse me. So think about it from a perspective of, like it's like one of the kid roller coasters at Disney, something that it's fun, but it's certainly not something that you have to do every single time you go.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Although I really like it.
Yeah.
Because I love hippogriffs.
Yeah.
And anyway, getting back to what I was saying, Honeydukes is one of my favorite places in Hogsmeade. And then I did mention that you can get wands at Hogsmeade. Most would think of Ollivanders in Diagon Alley. Well, in Hogsmeade, this was not canon to the movie or the book by any means, but they have added a sister location of Ollivanders in Hogsmeade, and there you can also purchase a wand.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is just something that I wanted to mention. I'm not sure if they have a night show over at Universal Orlando for the Harry Potter world, but in Hogsmeade of Islands of Adventure, at night, the castle will be infiltrated by Death Eaters, and they will attempt to take over the castle and perform the dark arts. And that's actually what the show is called. It's called Dark Arts at Hogwarts Castle, and it's a very amazing show to watch. I didn't watch it all the way through, but when I did manage to get a lot of film at the end of it, and it is something that is really spectacular to see. They have the dark mark shining on the castle. They have a lot of amazing holographic imagery, and it makes it look like the castle has been dilapidated at the end of the show, but
Yeah.
really it is just amazing to watch. It hasn't been changed at all.
Yeah. And what's really neat about the castle is depending on the season, because we were at Universal in October when we did
Mhm.
the Not So Scary Halloween party also at Magic Kingdom. And so that time period is perfect for the dark arts, and it had just started that show around that time period. But at Christmas, they also have a special Christmas show where they light up the castle with snow and so forth, and
Mhm.
it's really neat too. I haven't seen that in person, but I have seen it on Facebook Live through some of the Pixie agents and
Mhm.
so forth that have shared it. So it's really cool. So
Yeah,
so
it's
the way they do the castle shows are really neat.
yeah, they are so neat. So anyway, that is all that I have written down. Why don't we talk about the last two things that we have here?
Sure. So the first thing I'll talk about is if you aren't going to be able to make it to Universal anytime soon and you want to still, get back into that universe that is Hogwarts and that is the world of Harry Potter. um, One of the things I learned was of a website called Hogwarts is Here, and it's hogwartsishere.com. And um, what it does is it gives you an immersion into Hogwarts, right, Sophie?
It does. You can
Um,
take classes. I'm there myself. I've already made my account, and you can come find me. I'm sure I'm in Ravenclaw, of course. And
and
it walks you through it as if you were a student like me. I've looked at my status on the in the community, and it says that I am a first year. You can register for classes and all this different stuff. It has teachers there. You can apply to be a teacher's assistant. And there are so many things that you can do on the website. I've actually been looking through it. Unfortunately, I haven't taken the plunge and registered for any classes yet, but it is something that I would recommend doing just because there are a lot of Harry Potter nerds, and it's nice to have a virtual Hogwarts you can go to.
yeah,
And I imagine this might be how they handled a pandemic like situation, was with having virtual classes, even though magic really messes up technology.
yeah. But anyway, so that might be interesting to take a look at.
Hmm.
And then also, Sophie mentioned the Owl Post over in Hogsmeade, where you can send letters and so forth to your friends straight from, and they'll get a Hogsmeade stamp on the postage and so forth, and you can buy postage there and so forth. But I
Hmm.
found a YouTube video by someone who outlined all the different steps for making your own Hogwarts acceptance letter to send to someone from the Hogsmeade Owl Post. And so the link will be in the show notes. And it was really neat because she talked about how to dye the paper it um, so that it became the color of parchment, and how to get it, a little wrinkly and so forth, um, and so forth. So there's a lot of different steps to it. You can put your own wax seal on it. You could um, just really go all out. So I was thinking that
Hmm.
would be really neat as something you could do for a special friend, like Sophie's Aunt Robin, my sister, is huge on Harry Potter, and she is a Slytherin. So it'd be really neat to make her own acceptance letter and mail it from Hogsmeade,
It
from the
would be
outpost.
it would be amazing.
So that would be just really cool to get that and then mail it to her from Hogsmeade. So
Mhm.
I think that would just blow her mind. So,
Yep.
but anyway, so those two things were things that I found for things you can do outside of going to Universal. And Sophie, do you have a question for the listeners?
Yes, I actually just thought of this as Daddy was talking, and I have a question for you guys. What is your wand? I really want to know. Basically, just put it in the group, the Facebook group that Daddy has for the On the Road with Mickey people. My wand is a hawthorn wood with a unicorn hair core. It is 12 1/4 inches and has slightly springy flexibility.
There you go. And one of the things I learned is that they used to assign wands based on your date of birth would be the type of wood you would get.
Hmm.
So if you're not certain which type of wand, if you don't know if you want a Dumbledore wand or if you want something else, um, then you can pick a wand that's not associated with a character, and it'll be based off of your date of birth or something like that. So
Hmm.
it's an option, and that was something that J.K. Rowling learned after she had assigned the wands for Harry and for Ron and Hermione, or at least for Harry, and she then learned about this Celtic process that did describe a wood that was based to be
Hmm.
like your wood based off of your birth month. And it was just by luck that the wand and the wood of the wand was specifically what would have been matched for his birth month anyway. So that was a coincidence. So she did the same thing, I think, with Ron and Hermione, and she didn't tell anyone. She just kept it her little secret of how she came up with their wands. So kind of
Wow.
cool, kind of cool. But yeah, so that wraps up our feature topic of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I know that we haven't even hardly scratched the surface when it comes to that really immersive
Mm-hmm.
experience, and it's truly something that we need to devote probably some extra time on later down the road. We'll make some trip plans and we'll go see it, and we'll do some Facebook
Yeah.
Live, and we'll record some video, and we'll get really involved in Harry Potter. But I wanted to wet your whistle a little bit and get you thinking about something other than just Disney all the time. Um, so I hope that you enjoyed this feature topic. And since we are on the road with Mickey, that means we travel everywhere, but we also are primarily Disney focused. So we are not going to do our This Day in Disney History this week, and we're not going to do our Disney Who's Who character because it doesn't seem to fit. But
No.
but I do have a Walt Disney quote, and I'm going to put my glasses on and read it to you. And obviously, he's not talking about Universal, but I think this still applies for this week's lesson or this week's podcast, Sophie. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what Walt Disney says. It's on the topic of education. And he says, "You'll be a poorer person all your life if you don't know some of the great stories and the great poems. But the actual world of nature and human nature is where you will live and work with your neighbors and your competitors. So keep your eyes open." So I thought that was interesting because to me, that says that you want to pay attention to what's going on around you, but also to remember that there's stories everywhere that are waiting to be found. So, all right. So,
All right.
okay. So, just going to close us out by saying that On the Road with Mickey is sponsored by Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis and Tech Solutions NC. If you have any computing or travel needs, reach out to them. Tech Solutions is found at techsolutionsnc.com or on Facebook, and you can reach Mike for travel needs at mike@pixievacations.com or on Facebook at Pixie Vacations by Mike Ellis. Thanks everyone for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and Sophie, we will
See you on the road.